If someone had told me a few years ago that my best friend would be the person to hurt me most, I would have laughed. I trusted Emily more than anyone. We'd been inseparable since high school, the kind of friendship people envy. We went through everything together. Heartbreaks, late-night study sessions, family drama, first jobs, first apartments. She wasn't just my best friend, she was practically my sister. When my mom passed away during my college years, Emily was there every single day, cooking for me, helping with paperwork, just sitting quietly when I didn't have the energy to talk. So when I say I trusted her, I mean completely. After graduation, I landed a job at a mid-sized marketing firm, and Emily started working as a freelance graphic designer. We always talked about collaborating someday. She'd design, I'd handle clients and strategy. It felt like a dream waiting to happen. That dream came true faster than we thought. About a year in, my firm began taking on small external contracts. I pitched the idea of bringing Emily in for design work. My boss agreed, and soon she was getting steady freelance projects through me. It felt good, like I was helping my best friend climb the ladder with me. And for a while everything was great. She was reliable, creative, and professional. My boss loved her work and I felt proud watching her grow. But slowly things started to feel off. It began with small things, missed deadlines, vague excuses. Then I started noticing that clients I'd been managing for months suddenly stopped contacting me. When I'd check in, they'd say something like, "Oh, Emily told us she'd handle everything directly." That didn't make sense. I was the project manager. I was supposed to handle everything. At first, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was just trying to be helpful. But it happened again. And again. One day my boss called me into his office. He looked uneasy. "Listen," he said, "I just got an email from one of our clients. They're switching to a different agency, one that apparently offers cheaper rates. The designs look familiar." He turned his monitor around. I stared at the screen, my heart dropping. The sample designs attached were Emily's. Her signature style, her color palettes, her typography, it was all unmistakable. I could barely process it. "That's my friend's work." He frowned. "Your friend?" I nodded. "Emily. She's been freelancing with us." "She must have." I stopped because saying it out loud made it real. She'd gone behind my back, poached one of our clients, and started her own little side operation using contacts I'd helped her build. I felt physically sick. My boss sighed. "Look, I don't want drama. But if she's taking clients through our contracts, that's a breach of policy. You might want to talk to her before I escalate this." I thanked him, left the office, and went straight home. I must have stared at my phone for an hour before finally messaging her. "Hey, can we talk? It's important." She replied almost instantly. "Sure. Everything okay?" When she showed up that evening, she was her usual cheerful self, carrying takeout and a bottle of wine. "You look stressed," she said, setting the food down. "Rough day." I didn't bother with small talk. "Emily, did you take the Parker account?" Her smile faltered. "What?" "The Parker account," I repeated. "You were freelancing through me. But they emailed saying they're switching to another agency that uses your designs. Did you contact them directly?" For a second she looked guilty. Then she laughed, a nervous laugh, and said, "They reached out to me. They said they wanted to continue working together outside the firm." I didn't see the harm. I stared at her in disbelief. "You didn't see the harm? That's my company's client. My project. You used a professional connection I gave you to start your own deal behind my back." She shrugged, clearly uncomfortable. "It's just business, okay? You do the same." "No," I said quietly. "I wouldn't." She rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting. It's not like I stole anything from you personally. The company doesn't pay you commission, right?" It was like she couldn't even see what she'd done. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just said, "You need to cut ties with them immediately." She scoffed. "Relax. I'm not quitting a paying client because you're being dramatic." That was the last straw. Something in me shifted that night. The trust I'd built over years cracked like glass, and I knew there was no gluing it back together. I didn't say another word. I just nodded slowly, stood up, and opened the door. "You should go." She looked offended. "Wow. You're really going to throw away our friendship over this?" I met her eyes. "You threw it away the moment you decided money mattered more than loyalty." She left without another word. The next few weeks were miserable. She didn't apologize, didn't even try to make things right. Instead, she started posting on social media about her new business, showing off projects that suspiciously resembled ones from my firm. Clients I'd nurtured for years began leaving one by one. My boss called me back in after another major account dropped. This time he wasn't calm. "Daniel, I like you, but this is becoming a pattern. You need to get this under control." I wanted to scream that it wasn't my fault, that Emily was deliberately sabotaging me. But I also knew it was my word against hers, and without proof it would just sound like excuses. That night I sat on my couch staring at her Instagram, scrolling through her posts. And that's when I saw something that made me pause. One of her new designs had a watermark, barely visible but still there. My firm's watermark. She hadn't even bothered to remove it completely. I took a screenshot. Then another. Then I started digging. Over the next few days I gathered every piece of evidence I could, Side-by-side comparisons, client emails, even timestamps. I built a quiet little folder on my desktop labeled Truth. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Because if Emily thought she could outsmart me, she was about to learn how wrong she was. After that night I went cold. I didn't block Emily. I didn't confront her again. I just stayed quiet and watched. I wanted her to think I'd moved on. I still interacted with her posts occasionally, left the occasional emoji reaction just to keep her guard down. Because I needed time to collect, observe, and plan. Meanwhile, things at work got tense. My boss didn't openly blame me, but I could tell he was losing patience. I was desperate to clear my name, but I also didn't want to drag personal drama into the office. So I waited until I had something solid. That came about 2 weeks later. I was working late one night when I got an email notification. A client inquiry forwarded to my company's general inbox. It was from someone new asking for a quote on a campaign. But when I opened it, I saw something familiar. The attachments were pitch decks, ones Emily and I had built together back when she was still freelancing through me. Except this time they had her personal logo on them. She'd literally taken my company's proposal template, replaced the branding, and started pitching it as her own. That was the proof I needed. The next morning I printed out everything. Emails, side-by-side visuals, screenshots of her social media posts, even a copy of the proposal she'd plagiarized. I walked straight into my boss's office and laid it all on his desk. He didn't say a word for a minute. Then he leaned back, exhaled, and muttered, "Unbelievable." "I didn't want to accuse her without proof," I said quietly. "But she's been stealing our work, clients, and designs for months." He nodded slowly. "Thank you for handling this professionally. Leave it with me." That was all I needed to hear. By the end of the day, legal had reached out. They drafted a cease and desist letter demanding she stop using any of the firm's materials or client contacts. They also began contacting the clients she'd poached, informing them of the breach. I didn't gloat. I didn't message her. I just waited. 2 days later she called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. The second I picked up, she was furious. "You told your company about me? Are you insane? They're threatening to sue me." I kept my voice calm. "You did that to yourself." She went on a rant, how she was just trying to build something for herself, how I'd ruined her career, how she never expected me to be so vindictive. I waited until she ran out of breath, then said, "You stole from me. From the company that trusted you because I vouched for you. You broke that trust. I didn't ruin your career. You did that the moment you crossed that line." She hung up on me. After that, everything snowballed fast. Her new clients dropped her once they learned about the lawsuit. Word spread in local marketing circles. Nobody wanted to be associated with her. Meanwhile, my boss called me into his office again a week later. I expected another lecture, but instead he smiled. "You handled this better than most people would have. You stayed professional, gathered proof, and protected the company. I respect that." He offered me a raise and a promotion. It wasn't just about money, it was validation. The universe finally balancing things out. But as satisfying as that was, a part of me still felt hollow. Because underneath all the anger and betrayal there was grief. I'd lost someone I once considered family. Months passed. Life went back to normal. I stopped checking her socials. I stopped caring about what she was doing. Until one evening about 6 months later, I ran into her unexpectedly at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. She looked different. Tired. Her hair was unkempt, her smile forced. The moment she saw me, the room went cold. I wasn't planning to speak to her, but fate had other ideas. We ended up sitting at the same table. She didn't say anything at first, just picked at her drink. Finally, she murmured, "You must be happy. You got what you wanted." I looked at her and said, "No, Emily. What I wanted was my best friend not to betray me." Her eyes welled up, but she didn't reply. The rest of the night passed in awkward silence. When I left, she tried to say something, maybe an apology, but I just nodded and walked away. There was nothing left to say. That was the last time I saw her. Since then, I've built a stronger career, better boundaries, and new friendships. But that experience changed me. It taught me that loyalty doesn't mean blind trust, and kindness doesn't mean letting people step on you. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just quietly letting the truth expose someone, and moving on while they deal with the consequences of their own choices. And as cruel as it might sound, knowing that she lost everything she tried to take from me wasn't just justice. It was closure.